Hello everyone, my name is Jakub and you're listening to the Moment of Clarity podcast. I play Manov and lately I've been testing Krios 3. And with me as always is my friend Piotr. Piotr, how are you?
Hey, I'm fine. My name is Piotr. I'm playing Legion and Signar right now.
Which casters? Anything new?
Well,
Anything crazy?
And nothing crazy so far. I'm playing for last 2-3 weeks. I've been playing only Nemo 3 and Haley 3, so without any exceptions. I played Legion twice, and that's it.
Okay.
Callis 2.
But you're coming back soon, right? I think today after tomorrow you're coming back a little bit.
Yeah, last Wednesday I've been playing. I played 2 games with Callis 2 because I was really curious how's it to play this list, and I borrowed the list from Simon from the tournament in Krakow, and because my Callis 2 still hasn't arrived, so I just proxied him and used my 1 unit of Chosen that I have, and put Archangel on the table to see how it works, and it's great.
He looks great. I remember,
fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks really nice. What a great model.
Yeah. And how's your miniature hobby recently? What are you doing? What are you working on?
I've been testing Krios 3 a lot. Trying different...
And you painted him too.
Yeah, painted. I mean, he's not finished, but he's good enough for the table, you know.
Stained with paint.
Yeah, he looks dirty. No highlights yet. Just wash. But yeah, he's
Okay.
fine. I'm been testing different kinds of lists, mostly, of course, with Vengers, as he's like great with Vengers. But
He's a dedicated caster, right? To Vengers.
Yeah,
he gives him
Divine Inspiration.
Hand of Fate, or?
Yeah, basically Hand of Fate.
Okay.
What I've been testing is different amounts of horses. So is it 2 minimum units? Is it 2 maximum units? Is it a one maximum unit and a lot of support? Is it some
And
jacks?
which combination do you find best so far?
I'm taking the double minimum unit to the tournament this Saturday. So
This Saturday?
Yeah, I think.
Oh yeah, this Saturday. The one that I'm missing again.
Yeah, it's a great place. But
It's in Kalisz, right?
yes, it's in Kalisz. Great local scene. I mean, lots of people from actually not
Yeah,
local people coming to a local tournament. Always.
That's like it's quite a small city, right?
Yep.
Quite in a small town.
Yep.
And there are so many War Machine players. I'm curious because that's not your first time in Kalisz.
Yep, I've been there in December, I believe, at the beginning of December, I think.
Okay, one of your first tournaments.
Yeah, actually, was very excited, very exciting,
Okay.
Actually.
I remember, yeah.
Managed to take like 5th place out of I think 19 people with very little experience.
One of the first. Yeah, that's crazy.
Pretty crazy.
But as long as you have a miniature wargaming background, it's easier to jump in another game.
No, man, War Machine is hard. I got a little bit lucky then.
Yeah,
hopefully now I can repeat this.
We'll discuss it. We'll discuss your impressions about getting into the hobby right today as well, because the main subject of our podcast today will be developing a community in your city and maintaining it alive, right?
Yeah.
And how to encourage new players, new people to join playing this game, and how to keep those players playing.
Yeah, basically how to create the local meta, local scene, and maintain it.
Mm-hmm.
And we will be honestly mostly talking probably about what we observed, not what we are doing, because there are much better people locally here that are doing a lot of great work.
That's right.
We're mostly on the sidelines. We try to help as much as we can, but the majority
We'll
of
at
the
least
work.
talk about
Yeah,
this. We'll at least talk about this.
yeah, exactly. So we'll bring some visibility. That's our role to this. I hope.
Yeah, that's one of the points I wanted to discuss.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get it. We'll get it to it later.
Yeah, I wanted to
Okay.
talk about what has been happening the last few weeks. We promised the next podcast will be about infernals, but after seeing,
Do you promise?
okay, we said
Okay.
promise. We mentioned that
We
next week we'll be talking about infernals, and it didn't happen because you went to Barcelona, which we will be talking
yeah,
about again today. But
just a little bit.
we've seen how rapid the CAD has been. There have been like 2-3 updates a week for
The
3 weeks.
dynamic update is really dynamic.
Yeah, that's really. I've It's been a roller coaster of emotions for me. I honestly was not impressed by Infernals. Like initially, I was not waiting for it, and then I saw the rules, and I was like, okay, this might be interesting. So I started, checking out the CID forums, and it was
Mm-hmm.
super interesting. I was super excited. I even scheduled like a CID game. Then the next update dropped, the second update, which basically
The
destroyed all
morning.
my dreams. No, it was not like this.
Okay.
Destroyed all my
Because
dreams. Just let me finish. Then
mhm.
the third update dropped. I was like, oh my god, this will be the best thing ever. And the fourth update dropped the morning of my scheduled CID game, and the entire lesson and the idea got destroyed.
Again.
So it's been up
Okay.
and down all the way through for like 3 or 3.5 weeks.
Yeah. So since we are already discussing Infernals, so first we'll discuss a little bit Infernals and the CID process. What are what are our impressions? Then we'll go to the recent tournaments I participated, took part in, and then we'll go to our main subject, right?
Sure, absolutely, yeah. Very quick.
Correct?
Yeah,
Uh,
we'll run very quickly through the first two and
okay.
go to the main subject.
Okay. So first, Infernals. As I said, the dynamic update is changing really quickly. And as for a person who is not necessarily involved into the CID process, I mean myself, I just follow the Facebook groups, the War Machine Discord from time to time, and I read what's changing. And honestly, it's really difficult to keep up on the changes. Like everything is changing every week. Like
No,
there's
it was
changes
even more often. It was changing like
are
every
even
three
more.
days or
uh,
something, 2-3 days something.
it's so quick. It's really difficult for me. I understand that those changes are necessary and some slight adjustment that the development team didn't pick up during right before updating the rules. So they a couple of days later they um, amended a little bit the couple of rules, right? But it's so quick. I lost track. I lost my track. I already got lost in that, and I hope I'm hoping when the CID process is about to end. Is it about to end,
Yes,
or is it still
it's ending today, I believe.
ending today?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're
Well, okay.
recording
We'll
Monday.
see. I'll need to write it down, and please don't forget your to 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 record that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
Mhm.
as you
So
said,
those are my
it's
impressions.
been
Yeah, those are my impressions.
very machine gun style CID. I don't
So
think
changes. I mean.
the whole process, I believe, has been really rushed and not given
Is
enough
it is
time.
is it chaotic? Would you call
No,
it chaotic?
well,
It's not chaotic, right? It's well organized,
no,
but still really
there
fast.
are moments when you could say this, but I believe that would be too strong of a word. Uh,
Yeah, that's pejorative meaning, so maybe it's not chaotic, but
what I mean is it's the such a such an incredibly complex thing has been condensed into this short time frame of 3 weeks
yeah,
without
I
even
cannot imagine the amount of work, like the amount of over hours they need to do to read all the comments and all the posts on CID forums.
well
Must
the
be
problem is not
difficult.
reading it, right? The problem is
Yeah.
really
That's
digesting it.
understanding and taking the right conclusions,
Yeah, which
right?
one is
Not
valuable
not what
feedback?
yeah, not what the people want, but what they really need, what game needs.
Yeah, this is I don't think the infernals will arrive at a satisfying state. To be honest, I'm
On
very
the, you
hyped.
mean the final rules
Yep,
or the
yep.
final update
The
in War
the
Room?
final.
Because it still can be
Yep, I
changed.
know, but I think that when they arrive, that will not be enough testing, simply
Mm.
because the most, let's call it, the most balanced we have seen the faction. We've only seen it for like 4 days or 5 days, something like this.
Mhm.
Uh,
Um,
and basically lots of the initial CID games and feedback is
is
basically worthless at this point if they, because the summoning
is
has
I,
been,
I I understand what you want to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's been condensed to a vastly too small of a frame, in my opinion, for such a
Mm.
dramatic change. I think
Mhm.
there could have been a faction CID, that would be one thing, and then there should have been like a summoning CID or whatever. I don't know, but I
Mm.
honestly
That's an
I
idea.
don't. It's just throwing ideas. I didn't even think
Uh-huh.
about it before,
Uh-huh.
but I think
Yeah.
the same way they will be testing the other theme, and they will be doing the CID on the campaign, the Oblivion.
Yeah, because we are having an Oblivion CD right after Infernal CD, and they confirmed in the recent hangout that Steamroller CID will be right after the Oblivion
Well, let's not put words in their mouth. They
CID.
didn't confirm. I
They
believe
said that.
William said this, that he believes that the next will be Steamroller, but
Oh, okay, okay,
it's not like
okay.
100% set in stone. Uh,
Okay, yeah, they didn't sign it.
yeah, but in fact, yeah,
Okay.
I'm looking forward to the Steamroller. I've never seen it.
For from my point of view, what I see, what I expect to see, the Infernals might not be as broken as it seemed to be at first. Because at first the summoning, etc., was really powerful, and now I believe they would be afraid to release another powerful theme force. I'm trying not to relate to Lord of the Feast or anything Seiko related, but but that's what I would normally expect, that they don't want to be the new faction too overpowered, because
Yeah, I think
the
they did a great job, honestly. But I might have sounded like they. I agree 100% with what you said, and I want to build up on this a little.
Mhm.
I sounded before
Go
like
on.
I am dissatisfied with the CAD, which is not true. I am very happy with how the CAD progressed, going from super overpowered to somehow viable. But
Mhm.
it's just
But you mean basically you mean the whole process in general as a thing, not necessarily the faction, because the
no, no, no,
process, the CID process, the now I think the mercenaries and the infernals, it's more about the balance, right? Not be about the overpoweredness of the models.
no. I don't mean the process. The CAD is fine.
Ah,
It's
okay,
just this specific one has been too
okay.
short. I don't think that.
Ah,
I
okay,
think
yeah.
they underestimated the time needed to do this and the amount of changes they will be doing throughout this.
Hmm.
Only this I'm disappointed about, because the rest, I think, very meaningful changes, and some of the stuff has been toned down just enough. Like I'm
Hmm.
really a big fan of, let's say, putting long shadows on the caster, the one that reduces the range of ranged attacks. It
Oh
was
yeah,
previously
instead
on a
of
solo,
solos.
yeah. It was previously on a solo. It was like a very strong solo, and now it's on a caster, which sort of makes it like you can have an anti-shooting list and another list that's not necessarily that good versus shooting, which is
Okay.
like an actual choice you have to make, not just auto include this model in every list you have, which is just an example of like positive changes they did. Lots of them.
Hmm.
Okay,
Okay.
I just want to cut this conversation because I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
we
yeah.
could
So just
discuss
to
this the
sum up,
entire, yeah.
yeah. So to sum up, we're just uh excited to see what will be the final rules,
Yeah,
right?
definitely. Very
And how it
excited.
will work. I got a little bit lost in all those changes, and I cannot see to wait the final CID process rules, because that would be something that I can rely on to some extent,
Hmm.
right? Because it will probably stay very similar in comparison to what was at the very beginning. So that's what you can start analyzing in context of upcoming major tournaments. I mean, WTC, for example,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And
How
you
does
can
it usually
start.
work with new factions? When will we see this in War Room? Like when they start releasing
Oh,
models, or is it like in a month or?
it's difficult to tell, right? It's usually they usually confirm at least the time period where we can expect that.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, it can just
But what's the time frame?
vary
Is it
from
like a
from
month or half a
it
year?
can it, it, it can vary from a couple of weeks to a couple of months, basically.
Okay, okay.
I think it should be, but that's only my like assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Release like uh, late holidays, summer holidays, but you never know.
I think
I
they
would
said
like to. I
the
would love to.
Infernals would be coming during the summer, didn't
hmm
they?
I would love to. I would love to see the whole faction released before WTC because that would be the surprise factor.
Mm,
That is always very interesting to see, but you never know. I don't know.
okay, sure.
Like at least I would like to see the whole faction released at once, not on stages like Crucible Guard over a couple of months. But it's uh,
Oh, I doubt they
difficult
do
process.
this
Yeah,
all at once.
yeah.
I seriously doubt it.
That'll be my like dream, but never happened.
No, it's the distribution stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. So those
very
were
excited,
Infernals.
very eager to see what the time will bring. Infernals look cool. I'm honestly probably I'm going to buy them if they remain cool. I don't need them to be like powerful, but I want them to be unique, cool,
hmm
something
Yeah,
special.
at least the looks of the models is definitely unique.
Actually,
One of a
I don't
kind.
like the horrors, but I like the basically every other model in the faction except for
Ah,
the
okay.
horrors.
Uh-huh.
They look great,
Nice.
I think. Anyway, so the tournaments you've been to Barcelona and you've been to Krakow. Both were big tournaments, if
Week
I'm
after week.
yeah,
Yeah, week after week.
basically it's very hard to catch you. That's why we've been slacking with the podcast because you have been extremely busy testing the list and going on tournaments.
Not, yeah, not. I've been testing leaves like I would say maybe 2 weeks ago, but then I was just painting them.
Ah, that's true. That's true. Okay, okay. I keep mixing
Yeah,
the time frame.
I was testing it a bit earlier, but then for last 2.5 weeks, I've been just painting models and trying to uh, get them all painted before the tournament in Krakow. But first, let's discuss the really briefly the tournament in Barcelona.
Sure. How was it?
So, well, yeah, it was amazing. I just love tournaments in Spain. That was my second one. First, but before I've been to Madrid in 2017, November,
Mm-hmm.
and I had so much fun. I really love those people. I met them several times. Uh, First, I met two Catalan guys on in 2012 in Lyon.
Wow, that's a long time
So that was
ago.
yeah, a long time ago. And the other guy, Buti, I've seen him several times afterwards, but I've never seen Sergi from until last 2 weeks, last tournament. So it was really happy reunion because I really like those guys. And yeah, so uh, we arrived on Thursday, uh, really late. So we just arrived to hostel, met with Tomasz, and we went and his girlfriend, and we went for a beer. Then we on Friday we visited city a little bit. As much we didn't have much time. I mean Tomasz and myself, so we just
Were there any
did
games on Friday?
no. We just did a little round around the city,
Okay.
walking everywhere. And in the evening, we went to the shop. I needed to pick up a Storm Strider because I needed it. And yeah, and we came back, ate something, and just chilled and prepared for the day.
You said they have a
Uh,
great shop there, right?
yeah, the
I remember when you came
Infernal
back.
Forge. Yeah, it's amazing.
It's named
Like
Infernal
having
Forge,
a
right?
yes,
Go check it
the
out, guys.
the yeah the shop having a shop that well supplied in your city, that's amazing. Really, they had a wall of models full of models, like anything, basically anything you wanted you could have bought there.
Yeah,
But
yeah. When you came
in
back,
case that
I remember when I showed you my Severus Zero that finally arrived, and you said like, Yeah, in Barcelona I saw like
That,
four of them like hanging on the shop. I was like,
yeah,
damn.
exactly. And here people would kill for having it, right?
Yeah,
And I had a list of models to buy there, and I bought a Stormstrider and a couple more for myself.
wow, it's really cool they have this.
Yeah,
I envy them very
yeah,
much.
yeah. The shop is amazing. So yeah, and then on Saturday morning we came to the shop again and we began our tournament. We played instead of playing 6 rounds, we played only five
Okay.
because one of the players paired against the undefeated player lost to players, so we had only 5 rounds.
Okay. That happens.
And yeah, and it happened in Krakow as well, unfortunately, because I would love to play six or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And yeah, I'm currently writing battle reports from our Polish team championship, and I'll get to describing the battle reports from Barcelona as soon as possible. But I have so many games to get to write reports about. It's difficult.
Very quickly,
But yeah, I
was there
played.
something like
Mhm.
interesting happening? Like a pairing you want to mention especially?
If well, I was playing against Scorn, I think 3 times,
Oh
and
boy.
Signar once, and Signar once, and Circle Ouroboros in the last round.
Wow. Full meta except for
Yeah, it was.
for the signal.
There were four scoring players, and I played against three of them.
That's
That was
that's just about the luck you usually have, right?
yeah. That wasn't. Yeah, I got the same against Legion back a
Yeah,
couple of
exactly.
months
That's what I
back.
mean. That's what
It
I'm referring
wasn't.
to. It's
Yeah.
classic you.
Yeah, whenever I go into a faction, I just go all in, right?
Yeah, but you know the matchup. Like
So
by the third game,
yeah,
you're like,
yeah.
yeah, I
I was
know
very
everything you do. It's just
I was very happy. I was very happy that I got to play one game against Scorn against Pavel back in Warsaw. So I knew what I can expect from Makeda 3.
hmm.
So that was it. Yeah, it was in general they were great games. I had lots of fun, and the people there are really amazing, and I mean it. And I cannot wait to see them again. Maybe in May in our pre-WTC tournament, 5 versus 5 in May in southern Poland,
Hmm.
and we will post the link in our post so you can go check it out.
Yep, absolutely. It's
And
going to be huge.
yeah, and I cannot wait to see those guys either on this tournament or on WTC.
Sure.
That
So,
would be great if I'll be there.
how did you do in Barcelona actually? How many did
Oh
you
yeah,
win? What place did
I
you?
was trying to avoid this.
Come on, drop the bomb.
Yeah, yeah, I lost my first round because Makeda 3 survived on 1 HP,
Oh
and I
boy.
just couldn't get her killed. I did everything I could, but there were a couple of Fury left on Makeda, just enough. Unfortunately, I managed to kill another beast with my feet, with Nimble 3. So he got 2 Fury. And then with the last Fury, he
Oh.
transferred the damage to the War Beast.
So
He
he
killed the
got
War Beast,
Fury because
and
you killed the
no, no,
beast.
no, 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 no. If you kill the War Beast with a transfer, the Fury doesn't get back to you. So the
Okay.
Beast got killed with the transfer, and the excess damage got back to him, but it was only 3, and he stayed on 1.
Okay.
So, yeah. And there were
Understandable.
a lot of. Sorry, I didn't use my feet. I used it before the tournament before. But I was really unlucky with the rolls because I was rolling with power 12 against armor 16 because those were leaps, so I didn't trigger battle driven. Then I was trying to trick shot him on power 10, against armor 16, and I think that I dealt only 1 or 2 damage, really low. So I was
Hmm.
I was quite unlucky, but the game was amazing. Apart from that, and
Sure.
then another other games I would like to mention. I played against Signar,
Was
and
it
that
the
was
only
Halo
other
2.
signal or were there more?
Oh, that I believe there were 3 Signar players,
Actually, how many
including
people
myself.
attended? I don't
Around
remember.
40. I cannot
Wow,
recall the exact number,
that's a
but that was
large
around 40.
tournament.
Yeah, it was quite big.
Okay, nice,
That's right. There were people from Italy, from Portugal, from Spain, and from Poland, obviously.
nice,
So there were a lot of people,
nice, nice, nice.
a lot of people there. So yeah, and the other game I lost was against another Scorn, but that was for a change. That was Makeda 1,
Hmm.
really fast list.
What went
And
wrong?
what went wrong? I just couldn't kill the Colossal, and then got assassinated with Malik Karn charging into myself. I could have avoided that, recasting Arcane Shield on myself. I got tempted for getting a control point by killing a solo. A solo on the flag, I believe, and or a contesting solo, whatever. And I could have recast the Arcane Shield on Nemo, but that would probably just prolong my agony because he would just instead kill my army
Okay, makes
just
sense.
in short recap. And then I won against Signar. I did a caster kill, assassination,
Nice.
with slamming triumph against siege. So that was fun.
Oh, you love that Jack.
Uh, yeah, I love, especially when I'm slamming it against a enemy warcaster.
Cool, cool, cool.
Then I played against another Makida 3, but not in Immortal theme force. So he had 2 big Supreme Guardians, statues,
Mm-hmm.
etc. And I just knew how does it work and what to do because of the game we had before in Warsaw. That was great. And the last game I played against Circle Orboros, Wormwood versus Nemo 3. And as soon as I killed Cassius and Shifting Stone, Wormwood got stuck just in front of his deployment zone, and basically that was it. I
Okay,
just
he was out of range
killed
of
the
everything.
remaining. Yeah, and that gave me an upper hand in this game, and I collapsed on that.
Okay, so it was
But so that was it.
4 wins? No, 3 wins
No,
because
three,
five
three,
games.
three
Okay,
wins, 2 losses. That's right. But the tournament was really great. We had so much fun. And Tomasz won the tournament. He
uh,
played the semi-final again against an Italian guy and a final against another Italian guy. So Daniele ends up. So and those 2 guys finished on third and second place.
wow, shout out to
So
them. And
Italy's strong.
so no one from Spain took first, second, or third.
No,
Oh
sadly
boy,
no.
that's a shame. That must
Yeah,
feel bad.
but that's no, that's what happened.
Yeah, I mean, of
Sometimes it's
course, absolutely. I think that is even more like reason to organize such tournaments because such great talent comes to your place. You don't even have to
yeah, so many
travel
people.
to play on like a
Yeah,
very high level.
that's right. That's right.
That's great.
Then they were recording the first table, so I hope we will be able to watch those games.
Hmm.
And I would like to thank Mark, especially the guy from Infernal Forge, because he helped us a lot, and
You mean like
with
organizing the?
yeah, with organizing everything and helping us with coming there. So that was really nice of him, and thank you, Mark, for your help.
Cool, great guy, Mark. I think.
Yeah. And
S
then the Krakow tournament,
Yep,
right?
the big one,
Okay.
local.
Oh, and we got our flight delayed by 2 hours,
Yeah,
I believe,
I remember you writing this.
because of the very strong winds over whole Europe. So when we were landing in Katowice, it was 90 kilometers per hour, almost 100. So that was a really strong wind, and that was the first time I I felt I'm going to throw up in the plane during the landing.
Holy
That was
moly.
terrible. That was terrible. But the pilot landed just perfectly, and we landed safely. Yeah,
Cool, cool, cool. That's. I
yeah.
remember you writing this that you guys are delayed and you even have to travel from Katowice to Warsaw.
To Warsaw. Yeah, and if that flight would be delayed even more, I believe we would just take our miniatures out and we would just play a game with
On the
Tomasz
floor.
or yeah, because there were three guys from Poland and I mean, 3 couples. So there was apart from Me and my fiancé, there was Tomasz with his girlfriend, and Simon with his girlfriend from Marisha,
Hmm.
from Ace of Paints. She's painting beautiful models. Go check it out.
Please do. I've seen them.
Yeah,
Can confirm.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, there were six of us, so we're all together going to Katowice. So
That sounds
that was
great,
nice.
like a great time.
Yeah, I love this, tournament tourism.
Yeah.
You go to a city, you visit a bit, and you play. So I
Yeah,
like doing
like
that.
I'm going to Kalisz this Saturday, and my wife was like, "Is there something interesting in Kalisz? I could actually go with you, but I don't want to sit for like 8 hours looking at games."
Oh
Mm,
yeah, obviously.
yeah, so I'm not sure what to tell her. I don't really know what's in Kalisz. Probably there is a lot of great stuff, but I just don't know.
It's a nice city. Go check it out.
Yeah,
Okay, let's go to another tournament because we still didn't get out to our main topic.
yeah, true. Okay,
Yeah.
Krakow, real fast.
Yeah.
How was it? How was
Um,
the whole event?
amazing tournament. Uh, I I was uh, I was really happy that I made it with painting my models, and I managed to borrow those that I didn't manage to paint. But I was really happy that the organizers, like by organizing this tournament, convinced me to paint many of my models, like old trencher theme and some battle engines and jacks. So that's great.
Yeah, so we
That's
talked
a
about
really
this the last time that
Yeah, and having fully painted tournaments, we should have it more often, not only one or two per year, but that should be a standard one day.
I wish there would be like two a year or something.
There,
Uh,
I
I've,
hope, I hope, I hope we'll get better in that. So the other did a really great job along with other guys from Krakow, with Marcin and many more people. So the tournament, the location was at first uh, quite. I was surprised because that
I've heard scary from some people.
no, it wasn't scary. It wasn't scary. It was in the middle, somewhere. It was on the second floor of a club. So at first it might seem a little bit strange, but then when we arrived to the room, there were lots of space. Uh, it was really bright. It wasn't dark inside. I mean,
I've seen the photos
there,
and I can
yeah,
absolutely attest to this. The amount of space and
yeah,
light there was this was
yeah.
crazy.
It was great. That was the perfect conditions to play a game. Really, everybody had it on separate table, so we weren't clumped together and
It looked like
this.
they were like 5 meters between one table and another.
Maybe not
On the
that
photo,
much.
maybe not that much, but I mean like
Yeah,
from what I'm used
definitely
to.
there's a lot of space and other things. I don't know. There was a box that I should be on every tournament, like lost things, lost and found box. So whenever you lost something, you
Oh,
knew
that's a
where
great
to
idea actually.
find it. Yeah, they had a huge screen with pairings with the master clock, and they were really strict on the master clock, and I can understand totally that because that's the rules. And yeah. So if there will be, and there will be another next year, the Primal Arc number 3, I will definitely go there.
Yeah, hopefully I can make
As
it as well.
there were some foreigners. There were two guys from Sweden. There was Simon from he came from Bratislava, I believe, and there were 3 or 4 Hungarian players.
Wow,
I
that's
didn't, yeah, I didn't get to play against any of them from Hungary, but that was great. They arrived, they came to us, and that's not the first time. I believe they were on tournament in Poland, so that's great. It's not that far, right?
yeah. The Krakow is in the south, so it's pretty close to
Yeah,
some other countries actually.
that's right.
So,
So yeah, the tournament
how
was
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 the very quickly, not going in depth, no time for this.
yeah.
How did you do?
Well, um, I lost the first round again, but against the guy who placed second. So I feel
No, this only
mm,
counts. This excuse only counts if you won. You know. No, I lost
oh, okay.
against the one who won the whole thing. No,
Okay,
it
so
happens.
I
It
lost.
happens.
Okay,
But
I
then it
lost.
works.
So I lost to Baldur 1 with a bird, and that's a thing. I mean, the list. It's really strong. Especially,
What's the idea behind it? Is it like a counter to other circles, or just a
yeah,
solid list?
definitely that's a counter to another circles because it takes all out your Pathfinder,
Mm-hmm.
and you have a lot of infantry removing non-attacks related damage rolls
Oh, so that's
with
perfect for you, infantry removing, right?
yeah, because the bird has electro leaps on melee. He lost it on range attacks, but he has it on melee, I believe. And he has the pulse that, the same that Thunderhead has.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a really strong list. I don't want to go too much into
Sure, there will
details,
be
but
reports for this, so don't worry,
yeah,
people.
that's right. Then I played against Retribution, Gorshid 4, and I played with Nemo 3, and it was a really nice game. And we played it till the very end, and I won.
Cool, cool, cool.
Then I played against Kruger 2, and I used my Heli 3 list, and I got clocked. I mean, the master clocked, just we got dice down, and we had to roll who's going to win, and I lost.
Oh boy.
But the game could go either way. I was low on clock, but I believe it could go on either way. But Libra was playing really, really good. I mean, at the end, especially. So he,
Okay,
he
fair.
knew what he was doing. Then I played against Vampire and his Denny 1 list. We're on Pirates. And I really stupidly lost Thunderhead because I didn't measure the threat range of those Satix's shooting. And I lost him to, I believe, 3 or 4 shooting models. That was a surprise.
Well,
But then I just cleared everything. And the other day, on Sunday morning, I placed against Tomasz from Krakow. He's playing Drinking. And it was an amazing game. We played till the very end. We had like 5 minutes, 40 seconds when the master clock just finished, ended, and uh, we decided who's going to lose, who's going to win, because uh, Thomas just before
I heard a funny story,
during
but
the
yeah.
during the game he was just had to do some things apart from playing, and he said that whenever we got to this moment, uh, he will just
Concede, yeah.
concede, and he conceded. But then we played it out till the end, and I would win.
Oh, that's
So,
fair then.
yeah, that was a great game.
Yeah.
In general, the event was amazing. I really enjoyed it.
More
Really, maybe my result wasn't as was it
satisfactory, I
satisfactory?
believe is the word.
Satisfactory, yeah, satisfactory. But all my games were amazing, and I felt really good after the tournament.
Yeah, and you have 2 lists fully painted, which is something. No, not really,
Well,
right? Because you borrowed
I
models.
borrowed,
Uh,
but still, I'm almost there. I'm almost there.
yeah, so now you.
Okay.
That's cool. That's cool. I hope to make my way there for the next edition, if it happens, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's great. Now, playing against fully painted army is totally different. Uh, totally different. I forgot the word. Experience, and it looks better on photos.
It does. It really does. And I think especially in some cases, it's much easier to see what's what if it's painted.
That's right. That's right.
So,
That's right.
tell me, um, the main topic today, after almost 40 minutes of recording, what is, why are communities important? Why are we even talking about this?
Well, because this game requires other people to play to have a game, right? So you need to have somebody to play with, and as long as you don't want to play with just 1 or 2 people, you just need to take care of your community, on the people that are playing, right?
Yeah,
Because we want people to play this game. We don't want to be there alone, so we just want to our communities to grow.
absolutely. And I think from a competitive standpoint, there is an argument to make for having more people
Yeah,
means more
you're
variety,
right.
means more factions, means more matchups tested,
More play styles,
more
etc.,
playstyles,
etc.
exactly, and most importantly, some of these people that you might initially think are, no, maybe casual or something, they might grow to be great players and actually,
Mm-hmm.
make you grow despite you making them
That,
grow
that's
initially.
that's right. That's pretty obvious, but needs to be said, right?
Yeah,
We just need to take care of our community. Sometimes sacrificing maybe a game or two just to play with newcomers. So
yeah. So th
they'll learn. But
this is
let's
important because, at least from what I've been hearing on different podcasts and on forums and from people face to face and on Facebook, is that this is a problem of communities getting smaller and smaller. And it is my opinion, I
yeah,
think yours too, that it is important to work on it because this stuff doesn't happen on itself. You can't rely on, let's say,
that's
I
right.
don't know, PP to create
Yeah, you
some
need to
sort
get the
of,
job done by
yeah, yeah.
yourself or in a group of friends.
Since this is a
Well,
hobby of passion, really, and we invest a lot of time in, assembling models, painting them, whatever, right? Discussing, creating lists, buying them, so that's money involved as well.
hmm
There
hmm
really needs to be some force behind this, like this activity we do, to make sure that
that's
other
right.
people also catch this.
From what I heard, those big communities are more or less all right. Some people are leaving the game, some people are joining, but those small communities are suffering the most, I believe.
Yeah, they are really, it's tough basically. Let's not put like mince words. It is
hmm
really tough when you try to organize a
It's tough.
tournament and like you expect like 8 people or 10 because like that's the amount of players you have in your meta, and then like two show up or three, and it's very disheartening. So
hmm
we are
Yeah,
here to talk about what our experience, what we've seen. So we will not be
and
theorizing, whatever.
and the ideas not necessarily ours that we can share with you how you can actually mm,
Yeah, what's working and what
make
isn't really,
yeah
right?
yeah
Because we've seen it.
that's right.
We've.
Because I discussed that in Barcelona with Cuni, the Spanish player.
Hmm.
We discussed he's doing the Spanish blog Galeon Negro, and he's doing a really great job. But he encountered a problem that those competitive players, they do not want to commit to a cause of making the community grow. They are just focused on playing more games, getting better in game, but sometimes they're just missing the whole point that we need another people to play this game to play more games, right?
Absolutely.
So so
So
uh,
what?
so we discussed that a little bit. So that was maybe the idea of doing the podcast. Maybe someone will find those tips, maybe just ideas useful.
Or at least
So you can,
encouraging.
or at least encouraging the yeah yeah
Yeah.
that's right.
So what we've been doing, actually not we, but I will I will be referring to us
Yeah,
as
because
we, as I mean the whole
as a
community here
community,
in
Warsaw
Warsaw.
community.
Yeah, but
And yeah,
let's.
because you're the good example because you're the relatively new player, right?
Yep. So yeah, that's a good starting point actually. How I got into
hmm
it, which
Yeah.
happened a little less than a year ago, and then it took me like a few months to actually get into it. But what started
hmm
this was actually an article on a blog.
hmm
The blog is called, it's untranslate, impossible to translate. But basically, what the blog does is
Polish blog, Polish
it's a
blog.
Polish blog about niche war games, basically. Some stuff that,
So War Machine has been described as a niche war game.
well, since there is no major like presence on the market, let's say,
hmm
like shops are
So
not
market-wise,
actively,
it's a
yeah,
niche game.
yes, exactly. So,
Okay.
and the guy is not limited only to niche games. It's just that he's interested in many war games that he never had an opportunity to try, which is great. Honestly, I've read so many great articles there, and I always was like, oh, I really wish there was something happening with this game. Like I recall thinking about Mythic Battles, I don't remember the. Basically, there was like Greek mythology war game, like a skirmish one, It's like the
Mm-hmm.
miniatures looked so cool, and I really wish there was people playing it, but there was nothing happening.
Godslayer.
Yep. So there was he always does this by way of interviewing people that are like knowledgeable about the game. So he wants to learn
Mm-hmm.
about it, and he interviewed Kravat, who is a prominent
Rafał.
Rafa
Yeah.
exactly, who is a prominent figure in
Rafał.
Polish war machine, if we can say this.
That's right.
He
That's
is
a good. Yeah, that's a good
he's one of the people
uh,
behind
way to put it.
War Room, correct? War Room PL.
One. Yeah, it's more about it's more Marcin,
Yeah, okay.
but Rafał is doing the streams.
Yep,
That's for sure.
some of it. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, you can tell he's
yeah.
one of the guys.
So he talked about some of the mechanics and how the game works, and I got instantly hooked. Back then I've been playing like let's quote unquote this competitive Age of Sigmar, and I've been kind of fed up with the game, like having very little player agency. And Rafał talked a lot about the player agency part in this interview, and it really got me pumped. I was like, this is finally a game when I have decisions to make. I didn't know back then what that meant yet, but concept of having all this stuff to do has been really interesting. So I immediately, and this is when the community building starts. So I immediately instantly went to a Facebook group of Polish War Machine, and I noticed that there is no one doing anything there. There is no one posting, nothing is happening. The last post has been like a few weeks old, when in Age of Sigmar, the main activity is happening on the Facebook group. So
Yeah, because that's the experience you have from the other game,
yes,
right?
exactly. So I was
Uh,
super surprised, and of course I was expecting little movement, but not that little movement, and so I was kind of discouraged, and I just started watching like some videos on YouTube, and then while being in this group, someone shared the article there, uh, and
this very same article
yes,
you've read.
and I was like,
Okay.
okay, this is my moment to say something. Maybe I will, get into the community. So I commented that. Oh, actually, this is why I'm joining the system. I'm buying models and stuff. And a friend of ours, Mateusz, offered
Yeah.
like asked what I'm gonna be playing. I said Protectorate, and he said, "That's great. I'm also playing Protectorate. Just let's stay in
Jeremy's
touch."
selling it right now.
Yeah, and I we can arrange the demo game. I was like, this is it, right? That's great.
That's the attitude we're looking for
Yes, and so basically, if not for Mateusz, literally right there in this comment section on this
in
Facebook
this very
post,
moment.
yes, I would not have joined War Machine, and this podcast would not exist.
Yeah, because that was your idea.
Yeah, and
You were the pushing force.
yes, so I really feel the need for this. And it turns out that the
Okay. Yeah.
Facebook group was empty because the forum is the main place for War Machine talk
I
in
just
Poland.
wanted you to emphasize that we are not using Facebook that much. We are more using forums.
Yeah, and I was super
Uh,
surprised. I
maybe
never heard of it.
archaic, archaic a little bit, but that's what we do. We use our forum
Yes, so
discussing
what I
about
mean is
it.
we started discussing this like 2 weeks ago, right? Or maybe a week ago,
Yeah,
that
a
we
week.
need to start doing something on Facebook, like even posting some photos of us playing, that the stuff is
And
happening.
that's so that's one of the things I wanted to mention. That showing people that you're actually playing, something is happening on Facebook, on in social media. It's where many people can see it. It's very
And
important,
it's very
right?
easy.
And it's very easy. It's just taking a couple of photos of people playing game and uploading it to Facebook or whatever you use.
Yeah, we are very lucky
Uh,
because you have like an obsession of making photos.
yeah, that's me.
So that's your designated role in the community to just
Designated photographer.
yes, exactly, making photos non-stop.
Yeah.
And we've started doing this last week, I believe.
No, we were doing that before.
Yeah, but now it's like we're taking it seriously.
Ah, yeah. Yeah, now we feel there's a purpose,
Yes,
not only taking photos for photos,
yes,
right?
exactly. We've been taking photos, but what I mean is we started doing this, we started
Okay.
publishing them more
Mm-hmm.
openly.
So, and uploading to War Machine Warsaw group, I believe too.
Yep, to both
So
the
I wanted to mention. So I'm playing War Machine for 12 or 13 years, whatever,
crazy.
and I survived already a couple of downhills and uphills of several communities.
Hmm.
And I think that the main driving force and the easiest situation where you can convince somebody to play this game is having a well-supplied war gaming shop with war machine models.
Obviously, but that's usually outside of
That's
our like
yeah,
realm of possibility sometimes.
yes. So in our case, it is because in Warsaw there are many wargaming shops, but none of them is supplied with war machine models. Oh no, sorry, there is one, right? Paladinat.
No,
They
no.
have some
I
models.
mean, they have some models, yeah, but
They have
they have some models, obviously, yes.
they have some models, but that's not to the extent of Infernal Forge, obviously. So in case you're having a shop, you probably don't have issues convincing somebody to play because that's the marketing. That's what we are trying to do to convince people. So advertising the game, etc., is usually the retailer's role because he wants to sell those models, right?
Yep,
He wants people to play the game, so that's quite obvious. So in case you don't have any shop like we do not have any shops supplied with War Machine, the best solution is, I think, to play regularly. Like the peak day, like in our case, it's Wednesday evening after work. We just gather and play War Machine. We take photos. We tell everybody, "Hey, look, we are playing War Machine.
there's like eight
It's
people here.
yeah, it's okay. It's not dead, and actually, it's
It,
the number of players is increasing. So come and join us. Come and see if you want to join, if you want to learn, if you want to get back to the game. It's we are here. You can come and play and see.
100%.
Right. So that's one of, and I think the regularity of playing the game is very important.
I think you're not touching on one thing also. You
Okay.
because you touched on it briefly, but I really want to
Uh-huh.
emphasize this. When you said
Sure.
usually it is the shop's role to market the game, and that is true, but shops also, because they want to make a profit, but they also serve this
Mm-hmm.
weird role in the entire process. Let's say you make a demo game and the person is hooked. He says, okay, I want to get in.
Yeah.
So he,
Feels the vibe, and
and
yeah.
now he is very motivated to purchase, but he
Mm-hmm.
has nowhere to purchase this from. So
In case there's no shop,
yes, yes,
right?
yes. That's what I mean.
That's right.
So it's
That's
very
right.
important for there to be shops, and that's the hole that exists because of lack of, let's say, retailers. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so we have this going against us, is what I mean. Like an additional barrier of people usually having to wait for the models to be delivered via
Not being able to purchase the
purchase,
models.
because not
But
having, not being able to like make an impulsive purchase on the high of I really like this game. Because you go home, you start
yeah, that's
thinking, you go on the internet, and you start debating: is this the shop the better? Oh, there is the delivery cost. I don't know. So it's actually a little,
uh
yeah, stuff like this.
that's good. So it's important to have battle boxes to sell.
Yeah,
Would that be a
yeah.
conclusion?
I
Maybe
think I
not,
think
but
this is actually a place where our shop is well supplied, the Paladin, on the battle boxes.
they have battle
Yeah, they
boxes
mostly have
and you
battle
can buy
boxes
it.
actually. Uh,
So that's how you usually start playing
yep,
War Machine.
exactly. Um, what you touched
And
on,
I believe yeah,
the regular play, I think it's super super important and probably the most important thing, because why I didn't go into the game about the Greek heroes, which I don't even remember the name right now, is because no one is
Godslayer.
playing. Godslayer. Oh yes, exactly. This is the one. He's the Godslayer.
Yeah, because no one's
No one's
playing really.
playing this, or if they are playing, I have no idea that they do.
Because they're playing at home and they do not tell anybody.
Yeah. Um,
Maybe that's the case.
so when
So
I am a new person coming into the hobby, I join the Facebook group or whatever group. Usually it's Facebook group. Let's face it. I want to
Mm-hmm.
see action. I want to
Yeah,
see activity. I want to see stuff happening. People discussing games. People showing the photos, showing the models. This is super, super, super encouraging to get into the hobby.
yeah. Mm-hmm. That's where blogs are finding its place too, where you're showing your games, you're writing articles, you're posting, I don't know, podcasts or videos or whatever hobby related.
Hmm.
It's an important role of blogs to do that also, right?
Yeah, honestly, it would be very hard for me to get into the game without Arcane Assist.
For example, yeah.
When I was waiting for the for my first games or after the like a real games, I've been
Or
watching.
War Machine University, right?
Yeah, I've been
So,
watching and reading on it all the time. I was
hmm
riding the high a lot, and I think that's great that there are people, not necessarily local people, but generally speaking, people willing to take their time to do the stuff that is like approachable not only for veterans but also for new players. Like when you're
hmm
creating content, you
So,
have to make sure that it's digestible for both sides, I think.
hmm yeah, that's right.
So, what else are we
And
doing aside from regular
and
playing? We have
another thing, yeah,
we have great
another
people.
thing I wanted, another thing I wanted to mention,
Sure.
yeah, right now, that's right. The people, there need to be a person or a couple of people. It doesn't matter who is the driving force for the community, who organizes tournaments, journeyman leagues, and who basically leads the whole community, right?
Yeah.
So,
I mean,
what I mean,
it's not like this. They don't doesn't have to be, but it's great if those people exist.
oh yeah, okay, yeah, it enables it. It's easier
Yep.
to have it, going.
In our case, we have two people like this, I believe. We could say maybe three.
Two or three,
Yeah,
yeah, two or
two and a
three.
half, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Two and a half. Okay, yeah.
I mean,
Let's.
I'm not taking anything from no one. It's just that
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
very hard to
Sometimes
sum
it.
it up. Let's say three. Um,
Yeah,
we have Ciel. Jesus, I don't even know what Ciel's name is.
Robert.
Robert. Yeah, Jesus, I knew it.
He's really devoted. Really devoted to newcomers, to new players. He's explaining the rules very patiently
He works as
and
a
answers
teacher,
lots of,
so
yeah. That's right.
yeah, so he has this, this thing in him to teach.
Yeah, that's right. So uh, he is the person who teaches new players how to play, what to do,
He
and then you have a couple of more
No, no,
people.
let's talk
Uh,
more on this because this is like
okay,
honestly, Robert is
like an archetype of a player, of a experienced player who is introducing new players to the game. Let's and this guy Robert is a perfect example, isn't it?
yeah,
Isn't he?
it's not only a perfect example, but it's like he goes beyond. Like I think
Okay.
if he wouldn't exist and we were theorizing this person, like imagining what a person like with this role would do, he's doing more. I think
Okay.
so.
I get it.
I think so. What he does is he works directly with the only shop selling any war machine in Warsaw. He
hmm
organizes leagues and actively participates and does the entire thing about the organization. So making sure people are contacted, taking the results, engaging with like existing players to join. He's doing the
hmm
financial part of it. He even started like a what's the name,
Storytelling.
storytelling campaign.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Okay.
so people feel engaged and feel that the games have meaning, stuff like this. Um,
Like 12 or 14 people are participating right
yeah,
now, right?
yeah, yes, exactly.
The people I've never met. They're new to this game.
That
Most of
he
them.
is organizing and overseeing and participating in 25 points tournaments for new people, and
That's another thing I wanted to talk about later.
yeah, so he's doing so much, and also he's like the money person for our Wednesday gaming, which is a lot of
Yeah, he's
work and a lot of effort, and everyone
to chase everybody
yes, to
down.
chase everyone.
Yeah,
He like the amount of stuff he does, he's super impressive, and he's like the nicest person as well. Um,
that's right.
so
He's very kind.
I wish every community would have a Robert of their own. I know it's not
Yeah.
realistic to expect this, but Jesus Christ, this guy is great. So what else?
And he keeps playing Menov.
Yeah, he plays Manov, obviously.
So he can relate to
No,
the.
he plays Protectorate, because when we say he plays
Yeah.
Manov,
Yeah, that's
he
right.
always
He
corrects us.
correctly
He
made.
plays Protectorate. Shout out to Robert,
Yeah,
you're a great guy. Really.
yeah, you're a great guy. So it's very important to have a person like that, but it's also very important to have a place to play.
Yep.
If not for shops, it's difficult to find a place to play. We have this gaming club, let's say, basically a room in a basement
Yep.
where we can play, where
Couple
we
of
have
rooms.
our tables, we can leave our terrains, and we know that probably they will be there again when we arrive on the week after.
No, let's not emphasize the probably.
And
They're
yeah, just
99%.
just joking,
It's pretty safe
joking.
actually for what it is.
Yeah, so it's very important to have a place to play, to meet regularly. I think the regularity, it's as I said before, it's very important. And another great idea, another great thing to do, what Robert started doing, I believe, because I don't know who should I give credits to. I believe it was Robert and Mateusz probably.
Probably both.
It's we have tournaments, two tournaments played that will be difficult to pronounce, parallelly, right?
Yeah, running
parallel,
in parallel.
simultaneously.
Oh yes, exactly.
So we have two tournaments. We have one tournament for experienced players who have armies of 75 points,
Two
etc.
lists and
So
the whole
two
shebang, the
lists,
whole steamroller thing.
death clock, and everything like a standard tournament. And then simultaneously,
Literally in the room next to the one we're doing.
yeah,
the big
in the same,
tournament.
or sometimes in the same room,
Yeah,
depends on the
sometimes,
amount
yeah.
of people coming. There's another tournament for new players on a much slower, much lower format. It's usually 25 points. It was before
I
less,
think it
right?
was 15 initially, but it was too little. I don't
Mm-hmm.
remember honestly. I think it was
So
25 maybe.
the intention of having that is that those new players will not get wrecked in the first two rounds of this local tournament. They can play against people with similar experience, similar knowledge.
hmm
They obviously they're guided and advised by experienced players even during tournaments. When they rules wise, etc.
And they can
So we are there.
and they can walk like 5 meters and see those big
Yeah,
games
and
and
just ask, does it work like that? Because I'm not sure. They can ask us. So they're not getting wrecked in first rounds. They play with players with similar level, so they enjoy it.
and
They know what's going on,
this is
and they play
something
on a smaller format, and they have more time because we're playing on the same clock. All of us have 1 hour, right?
and I think you're missing one thing because you've been playing for
Okay.
12 years.
Okay.
They don't need that many models. Because
And they
War
don't need that
Machine is
many models,
a
yeah.
pretty expensive game, especially if you go to
The
this.
format is this smaller format is another thing. That's right.
Yeah, it is
we're
much
just playing.
easier to get into, especially if they're
That's right.
because many people, it's not in War Machine you may not see it that much, but that might be in part because there are people that would play the game, but they need to have the models painted because otherwise then they don't enjoy it.
Oh yeah.
Neither of us is one of those people, but these people
No.
not only exist, but they should feel welcome. So it's
I
much.
would probably enjoy playing the game all with bases only.
Yeah, me too. I can imagine myself
But we are
playing
not talking about
with bases
us
like
in this
sticked
situation.
with like little cardboard, cards stick to for like adhesive tape. I could play this probably.
Like a constant CID process.
Yeah, but
Okay.
but there are people different than ours, actually, probably much healthier, that want to have their models painted before they play, and it's much easier to
So
get into
it's good to have models painted to borrow them. I have 2 factions. Mateusz had 100 factions, and he's constantly selling them and buying new ones, right? And having them painted. So he has a lot of different
He
models.
was also starting a
borrow.
painting studio, I've heard, that will increase the value of your models dramatically once he
By
paints them.
accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out to Mateusz's painting skills.
Yeah, and his mercenary army. no longer his.
That's right.
Um,
Yeah. So yeah, that's right. So I think this idea of having two simultaneous tournaments is a great idea to introduce new players to tournament playing, to tournament games, to play competitively. Not everyone needs to play on tournaments, but it's great to meet on weekends, see other people's, exchange knowledge, exchange experience, ideas, etc. So we encourage you, if you're struggling to convince young players, new players to play, maybe you can just try to have those two tournaments in two different formats and just convince new players to come along and to play, to take part in the different tournament. Right?
Absolutely. So what else is there? I know we are planning to make a tournament that joins the participants from the big one and the small one for newcomers. Is that
Yeah, well,
something
so the
feasible?
as the eventually the our target is to combine those two tournaments into one bigger tournament and play all together. Probably on 50 points because that's something in between 35, 25 or something and 75.
Yep.
So the new players can, enhance their collections of models and be able to even be able to play on 50 points because the playing right switching from 35 or 25 up to 75
It's a
right
big
away
leap.
can
Yeah,
be
it's a big leap.
yeah it can be like brain freezing.
So we also talked about replicating something we've seen in Poznan. Actually, on the first tournament we went together. Was something
Ah, yeah,
that more advanced players would actually take
the
lists.
challenge
Yeah, the
the
challenge
challenge.
to for the more
Yes.
advanced players to take lists that they wouldn't normally take to a tournament, or
Yeah,
casters they
so
wouldn't
that's
normally
how
take.
that's how I began my blog with Legion,
Yeah,
describing my my lists that I wanted to take. That so the good players, the experienced, not the experienced players, those who are playing longer than the others, were encouraged to take just not obvious choices, something not obviously powerful, and try to find something out of the meta. That was really fun for me and for all the others that were trying to find a list, or rather two lists. And I ended up with Bethien and Sabrin one. So that was
yeah. I was
yeah.
back then. I was a person on the receiving
On
end.
the other
Yeah,
side.
yeah, on the
Yeah,
newcomer
on the
side.
others.
I feel probably might even still be, but I remember it really encouraged me to go to this tournament. I remember I was very nervous, even though it was a 50 points, but we
Hmm.
traveled for a good few hours. But I felt like even if I meet someone, much more experienced, I still have like a shot.
Yeah, that's right. That's the whole point, just playing and enjoying it.
Yep. So the other thing we want to mention are leagues and all sorts of organized long-term structured playing together.
Hmm.
It doesn't
Hmm.
necessarily have to be competitive, although it usually is, but narrative leagues are something we are trying to explore right now
Yeah,
in our meta.
Robert is trying.
Yep, Robert is trying
Yeah,
to encourage us, and
it,
I think he got like 12
yeah,
people, right? Something like this.
yeah. So something like that.
I myself am partaking,
Well,
so
because there are different types of players. There are those who are seeking just competitive play, going to tournaments, etc., etc. And there are also players who prefer to play casually, play for fun, rather than playing and finding the best lists, etc. So for them, they would be the target of this, I believe. Not only, but yeah, you know what I mean.
yeah. Most importantly, I think like the fact that we meet, we join the two wards. We get like their Facebook info or their forum nickname, whatever,
Hmm. Hmm.
basically. And later,
Stick
if
the face to the name.
yes, and if they want to, come, they don't feel like they never met us or we never met them. If we want to, play with them. I think,
Yeah, that's right. The communication is much easier when you know the person.
yeah,
Yeah. It's
exactly.
easier to ask to borrow models or ask for an advice, which is at the beginning especially it's important because the game is so complex. There are so many models,
Hmm.
and for the new players, it can be intimidating the amount of different interactions. So it's good when there's an experienced player who can point the direction that such player can uh, go for.
Yeah, and
Like, mhm.
it prevents like silos, so to speak, I guess, because I know me, yourself, some of our colleagues, we play together a lot, right? And it's good to like branch out of this bubble, meet new people because they
Yeah,
can join the
yeah,
bubble later on, or we can
yeah.
join theirs, or we can combine the bubbles because there might be people we don't even know about that are organized in some other fashion. Let's say there's like three or four friends that sometimes play.
Yeah, they might be somewhere there. So
Yeah.
that's the whole point of uh, mm, talking or discussing things War Machine related, not on closed forums as we do probably, but using more open media like Facebook groups or anything that can be easily accessible, I would say, because even though we there's a link, hyperlink to our forum, or is it?
It is
I don't know
somewhere,
right
but
now.
I would never
It's not
think
that
to go
obvious.
to a
Yeah, it's not that
forum
obvious.
when I was
So
first joining.
yeah, so closing the community, like being a hermetic forums or WhatsApp uh, discussions or something of this kind. It's uh, it's more difficult to find it. So having a open Facebook group for the whole country or I don't know the city, it's much easier to find it, right?
Yeah, but I mean, those Facebook groups can be like quote unquote closed, like semi-closed, because people don't know about them. What I mean is going to like those uh, open leagues, like what Robert is organizing, just to
Ah,
meet
you meant that.
people.
Okay.
Yeah, just so you branch out of the
I
silo.
went too far.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wanted to let you finish because I felt like you will come around. Um, anyway, so what I mean, don't, because it is easy to say, okay, this will be like a lot of new people there. I don't want to play with new people, but it is important, and you never know who you might find. There might be like very good players there. Just they like narrative
Yeah, they need.
events, yeah, and they decided to
Yeah,
join. So I think it's
that's
very
right.
important not to close yourself to this. Also, right now I'm thinking about one more person that helped build our scene a lot is Maximus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's right.
because he brought so much terrain base and zones and all the flags and
Mm-hmm.
objectives and basically also helped organize the place. Even if he is not like every week, he helped build this up, so that everyone can benefit from all the stuff.
He's committing a lot of his time to this hobby as much as he can probably because I know
Yeah, he's working a lot and
he's
traveling.
working a lot and traveling,
Yeah,
so he commits a lot
yeah,
to this hobby. So
and
that's great that there are still people who, apart from their work, they can um, take their free time and just come and play.
yeah. I think without the terrain base and the zones and all this stuff, it will be much harder to organize the regular,
Hmm.
planets because this way
Yeah,
everyone can come in and they don't have to be, prepared. They just need to bring their models.
and that's it.
Okay.
And sometimes not even.
Yeah,
They
sometimes
can
not
borrow
even.
it.
Yeah, exactly. So what else is there that we didn't talk about building communities? Is there anything
Uh,
else?
yeah, I was thinking about doing with Mateusz, or rather Mateusz is thinking, I don't know right now, about doing a Q&A session before, uh, like, asking those people who have more questions or just want to discuss anything they want to discuss to come on Wednesday, and we instead of playing uh, a round. We would just discuss, or answer their questions, or just talk. But usually we don't have time for that because the our schedule is so
Tight.
tight because we play two games and we try to close the basement room around 10 o'clock. So there's not enough time to
Yeah. I know what you
answer
mean.
all the questions, and I'm pretty sure there are some players that were trying to find their lists or their playstyle, etc. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, we didn't do this yet, so we don't know how effective it is.
Yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll
That's
see
that's
exactly.
one of the ideas of improving the communication, or just improving the
Something else I
you
just
know.
came up with is that building your own meta and your own community is all great, right? But
Hmm.
one of the reasons I'm going to Kalisz this Saturday is actually to help build a community and a scene there.
Hmm.
Um,
In the smaller town,
yeah, so
the
make connections as well, because not every person is attending like master events.
hmm
And I'm actually experiencing this with a different system right now, where there's a lot of smaller communities, and for bigger tournaments to be, or even for local tournaments, we actually need each other. So people to come from nearby cities that are not like regular playing, but on the weekend they can come for a
hmm
tournament.
hmm
So like building communities nearby yours is actually very beneficial as well, or can be. So if you go attend their event, there is a big chance they like you, or you stay in touch or whatever, and they come to your event.
Yeah, just showing your support and showing up on their tournament, increasing this way, uh, the amount of players that are
Yeah,
participating is one way of just uh, showing the other people who are still hesitating that look, this game is still alive. There are many players, there are new players coming, and come join
yeah.
us.
This way, if you have like a meta of 4 people playing together and you want to organize a tournament, it might be best if you like go to a tournament to a nearby city, meet 4 other people,
Hmm.
and you schedule something together. So you now have 8, and if 2 more people come, you have 10. So that's like an okay number. That's like
Yeah,
starting to look solid. And if someone says, yeah, we have tournaments of 10 people, then more people are willing to join because this is
yeah, you're
getting
showing
serious.
photos,
Yeah, so
publishing it on Facebook or whatever,
it's like a wheel that keeps on spinning. When you start building those bricks, they come
like a
together.
snowball
Yeah, like a snowball, exactly.
rolling down the snowball effect.
Yeah, so it is very important, even those little things, because they come together. Mm,
Hmm.
I can't think of anything else really from the top of my head.
No, I think we discussed most of the things that we wanted to cover.
Yeah, I think so.
Because there, for example, in my city that I come from, in Bydgoszcz, uh, the War Machine basically died a couple of years ago, and at the very beginning of War Machine Poland, that was one of the main um, one of the biggest communities in our country.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's gradually decreased the number of players, and now there's almost nobody. A lot of people have models, but almost nobody's playing. And then right out of the blue, someone just posted a post on War Machine group that is there still anybody that wants to play? Because I'm hesitating whether I should just buy models because I like the game. I like the way it looks. And suddenly there were after a couple of hours there were 60 comments under this post. Probably 8 or 10 were mine, but but I was really surprised that people are still want to play, and they were, I don't know what were they doing, probably living their own lives, not only playing War Machine games.
This is actually a great thing because this really
Hmm.
shows that you really need a
I'm really,
spark.
yeah, that's the spark, and
Yeah,
I hope that will be the spark, that will be enough to.
I think we've had this even in Warsaw, right? Because I remember Mateusz telling me that he struggled to
Oh
make a
man,
tournament of like 6 people.
yeah, a year ago
Yeah,
or a year and a half,
yeah.
it was very
And then we
difficult.
started
I
like organizing this,
mm-hmm.
all this
Yeah,
stuff, and it started
just
growing.
needed some time and needed some you know, commitment from Robert, from Mateusz,
Yeah,
from Maximus,
yeah. 2 or 3
Krzysztof.
people just basically did this. They were the spark, and
Hmm.
they created. And now we have tournaments of like what? Both tournaments combined are like 16 people sometimes, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
more or less.
crazy. I think it's crazy, honestly. That you know, it's not that much work actually. It's just doing this, like deciding you have to do. You should do it. If you want to play, you should do it, basically. Anyway, I'm starting
It's
to
probably
ramble.
more. It's probably more than it seems at first.
It's
It's a lot of work doing that, but
the
I think
initial part. The
that's
initial part.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Once it
But
starts,
it's worth it.
once the snowball starts rolling, that's great.
Only a couple of people, only a couple of people is enough to build a really great community like we have now in Warsaw, and it's still growing, and that's amazing.
Yes.
And we still don't have a shop supplied with War Machine, apart from the Battle Box shop.
Yeah. 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 Hopefully, it it might someday change. Who knows?
Yeah,
Anyway,
you never
is
know.
this it?
Yeah, I think we covered most of it.
Yeah, we
I
talk.
hope you will find it somehow useful in building your communities or uh, just encouraging newcomers to join. Because War Machine is a great game. It has wonderful mechanics, and probably that's one of the most important things that the
Now you're
probably most
standing
of
to start to
new play.
ramble.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to say at the very end that the players that are joining War Machine are usually not people who never played anything before. They're usually players from the other games, and they are the easiest people to convince to join War Machine. Right? That's it.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what I wanted to say at the end.
Sure, sure, sure. That makes sense, actually. Myself included in this
Mhm.
generalization, yeah.
Yeah, so just organize tournaments. Maybe try to organize two different formats. Be there for new
Or
players
start with just one small format if you don't have enough people.
or small,
Yeah,
yeah, or
start small.
start with small format.
Start with something, basically. If you have any questions, you need support or whatever, just reach out to us. From Moment of Clarity, you'll find us, no problem, and we'll figure something out.
Yeah, we're not the guru, but we
Yeah,
will definitely try to help.
we know some great people, though.
Yeah, that's the point. Okay,
Okay, guys, thank you for listening to the Moment of Clarity podcast. We hope it was interesting to you. And next week,
and somehow
wait, next
useful.
time, yeah, useful or
Next time,
inspiring.
don't rush it.
I
Don't rush it.
I actually don't have no idea what we'll discuss next time, so it will be a surprise.
Mhm.
Stay tuned and
That's right.
thank you for listening. Bye.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day.